Bloomerboomercom and be part of this amazing community. And now, here is Gene.
Hi, Andy. How are you? Thank you, Andy. Thanks for having me, as always, on Tuesdays at 5 Pacific time on Bloomerboomercom. I really appreciate everybody coming here. It's been great to hear from some of you. This is only our third show, so we're still getting used to I'm getting used to all of this. My name is Gene Pietragallo, coincidentally, and I'm your host on Gene Comes Clean, My Life of Excess. As I said, I want to thank you all for being here. I told you a little bit about myself before, and Andy just did too. I worked a little bit in between 1982 and 2011. And, I've been doing this pretty much my whole life. And although not all of us are household words, it's been really gratifying for me to be in the media show business. I guess flat out, though, I started off as an actor, and that's what I do. It's really what I love. And that discipline that is called acting is really mostly displayed and taught on the stage. And if you are a stage actor and have learned that way, then you know that it's a sport, and it's not for the faint of heart, and you better be ready. If you're not prepared for that, boy, it's real lonely out on that stage. You know what? Life's pretty lonely as well if you're not prepared for that. Little segue, but it is. And we surely have to be prepared as we get older. We're boomers. I told you last week, and I think I might have even misspoke. I told you that when I was, when I was 30, 60 was old. Just old beyond, just what is your purpose has outlived itself. So, I was really just didn't understand the process of aging and maturing. And then I thought, when I was 40, my gosh, that's old, and in my 40s. But I really don't think I explained at least how becoming a boomer changed. And I know officially, I guess boomers are 55 plus, but for me, when I was 55, I'm 61 now. When I was 55 years old, I still thought that being 60 was, it was it, man. It was over the hill. And I'm here to tell you all, it's not. And you never give up, being here with you guys is for me a way to actually talk about and have I hope a personal session with you that can give you some hope and let you know that hope happens with even the smallest movement. Just a little bit of change could change hopelessness into hopefulness. I found out a few things of getting older. Being a boomer at 61 years old is, 60 is not that old, and 61, even I feel it even is younger, because 60 is this big number, right? I'm going to be 60. I'm going to be 60. I sat around and I really waited for what was going to happen on that particular day, and nothing did. But that big number is gone. I almost feel like 61 sounds older than 60. You got to do what you can to convince yourself of what you need to get by. I know that, as I was just saying, that why it got easier for me as I got older is that I realized those things that I just said a bit facetiously weren't true at all. Life's far from over, and life also got simpler. What do I care about now? Well, what I care about now is, gosh, I'm so lucky to still have my mother here. My mother's a joy, and she'll be 86 years old this New Year's Eve. She's a New Year's Eve baby, and she's smart as a whip. She got a lot of aches and pains that come with being 86 and having two artificial knees and a hip, but smart as a whip. She'll take you to task. She doesn't forget anything. Don't lighten up. If I could maybe not have as many aches and pains, but my mom's might when I'm 86, I'd be really pleased. So how lucky am I also to have my mom as I'm getting old and still here, and her counsel. What a wonderful thing. That what can she tell us about? She could tell us about being a depression baby. She could tell us about how this all started, and give her perspective on where we are now and where the world is now, and with her history, her mind that says, look where we've come from, what is going on now. So she's just always a wonderful source of information, and more than that, I'm beside myself that she's here and can impart that wisdom and that history, and the history of our family tree, and where we got to where we are and all that to my children. So I have mom, and I have three kids that are my entire world, and I believe I can sit here and tell you that all three of them definitely love me. I know that two of them at the moment like me a lot too. One of them might be a little um, discouraged or at odds with dad right now, but you know what? That'll work out, because we also learn as we mature and become boomers that uh, we're here for the long ride, right? I'm here for the long ride, and the long ride is, as I said, being lucky enough to have those people in your life, and also in my life, I have my Wonder Woman. Her name's Linda, and Linda is wonderful, nurturing, tells it like it is, doesn't let me get away with anything. It's very honest and real. And wow, who thought that would happen? So, that's a whole nother show. But love in your 60s, you know, American style, it really is out there. So, but as I said, we'll talk about that down the road. But anyway, hi, honey, if you're watching. So, what I wanted to talk to you about is a little recap of last week. And last week, and what we really want to do here is improve our moods, improve our life, improve what we expect out of life and our attitudes. Well, the only person that can change you is you. And there's only one thing you have to do, just one thing you have to do to have change happen. All right. There's no heavy lifting. You don't have to go and count your steps every day. You don't have to do anything at all. If you want change in your life, positive change in your life, all you have to do is be willing, period. If you're willing, and you're willing to accept change as something good and positive, change will happen. And that, man, that's the biggest message I can give you guys is if you wake up in the morning and you're hopeful, if you wake up in the morning and you're looking forward to something, well, then you're living your life. So this is my way to express myself, because I'm someone that took their life of excess to the brink. I took it to the brink. And I understand why you have to be willing to change. And if I didn't have change become part of my life and acceptance become part of my life, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you today, because it gets real out there. And it gets real when we're fixated on the news and things that we cannot change. We can't change them. So we want change. You want change, but all day long you're flipping between CNN and Fox because you want to give yourself a whole picture. Well, I did that before. I try not to do that now, because I can't change anything. Frustration sets in. I want to be informed, but the 24/7 news and journalism that is thrown at us, it's repetition. There's maybe 9 minutes of it there. So we're being taught to spin our wheels and watch the message, but the message really is inside us, and it's in our homes. So, just be willing. Just be willing. Be willing to change your mood. Be willing to change your job. Be willing to change where you live. Be willing to change your shoes and go hiking. I mean, it doesn't need to be really big. I'd like to offer my condolences to Ruth Bader Ginsburg's family, just as an aside, and it's not a political aside. I believe that she embodied what it means to age gracefully or to age with passion. Um, there was no quit in that woman, and I never would make this a political show because it's not. That's not my purpose here. My purpose is to inspire you to hopefully get off the couch, to hopefully make a phone call that you need to make, to do something to help somebody else. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. But with Judge Ginsburg, Supreme Court Justice Ginsburg, I think we all see that the fire doesn't need to go out. And she cared about her job in our country up until the day she passed. So as an American, I thank her for her service, and we lost a great one. But we'll forge on because that's what we do, and that's what we do here in our country. And but it does segue into what I think since I got involved with the Bloomer Boomers, Bloomer Boomer. That was for me, and now hopefully I won't mess it up again. But since I got involved, I always liked this poem by Dylan Thomas, and it's even more apropos with the passing of Supreme Court Justice Ginsburg. Dylan Thomas says, "Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rage at the end of the day. Rage, rage against the dying of the light." It's an old poem. It's got a lot of worth there and a lot of merit, because who says we're done? Far from it, man. We've got history, we've got knowledge, things that people half our age can't touch, or our kids can't touch. We're a wealth of information for them on how to carry on with their lives, on what not to do. So don't give up. You know, this is a tough time. Uh, I want to stay on track, and we have a lot of neat things to talk about today. But you know, there's some real stuff going on in the world. You know, the opioid world is suicides and addiction has increased over 30% since the beginning of this. There's a lot of people isolating. A lot of alcohol sales have gone through the roof. A lot of us are isolating because we had to, because of the quarantines, because of this pandemic that hit our country. But we're also at that time we fall into habits, and we fall into things of excess that can bring us down. You're never too far down to get back up. Never too far at all. You know, so last week I told you a story about visiting Desolation Wilderness with Wonder Woman Linda, and being out of my comfort zone, and how enlightening and how spiritual it was for me. I mean, it was just so far out of my comfort zone. This week I want to talk to you about everything we're living through. And something that just happened to me, and that's when COVID hits too close to home. So I live in a resort town. We're not busy in the summer. Our season almost about ends after Easter, the middle of May, and so it's been quiet. It's been quiet recently, and we keep hearing how this virus is subsiding, the numbers are dropping, and to be quite honest, you know, I'm a mask wearer. I play by the rules, but it really hasn't touched me. It has caused me pause to see this amazing change in our world and how everything was shut down and all. But I've heard stories, but I really haven't had anyone close to me be attacked, ravaged, as you see, by this disease. And you know, at 200,000 deaths, there's a huge population, and our country's population is huge, so it doesn't touch us all. Well, recently, in our close circle of friends, um, someone that we're very close to at no fault of their own tested positive for COVID. So did a couple of their family members. Well, I have since March made it my what COVID affected me was is that I have an elderly parent, maybe a lot of you have at home, and that I knew that for her, it's real. It's not about maybe you'll get the symptoms and you won't survive and all that. And please know that all the time, as I said, we're having conversation about how to feel better about yourself and everything. I'm not an expert about anything. I'm not an expert about recovery or feeling better or change or politics at all. I'm just here to let you know the things that I've been able to do to save my own life. It gets that bad. And then to go beyond saving my life to now having a life, and having a life that's full of so much more promise than it had when I was 40, 45, 50, almost 55. Um, you don't have to go through what I did to turn your life around. I've always been a slow learner. So I put myself up to the wall, up against the wall, and it was either you're going to change, you're going to save yourself, or this wonderful gift you've been given of life and children and family and friends that love you is it's drifting away. It's going away. And addiction, which I didn't think we would go and get this heavy that quickly, but it's real, man. And you know, it affects people so much more when they're stuck in the house alone. Anyway, we found out this news. As I said, someone close to our circle and their family, they're positive for COVID. They called us very upset, almost guilty. It's not any fault of their own, like I told you. And they tested positive. We love this person, their family. We hugged them. We were involved. And then here, Linda and I both have elderly parents. Um, Mine in particular, in my story, is that she's had pneumonia. She's been in the hospital. This is not anything, and that was it. That was my COVID fight up until now, until this news just a few days ago, was just blinders on. Just make sure mom's okay. I'm going to be okay. I'm not. I've lost the extra poundage. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I try to work out a little bit, but I wasn't worried about myself. Well, as soon as I heard, you never know how you'll behave. I mean, I didn't freak out, but I knew it was real. The brevity of it really captured me. It moved me. And it was like, whether I was going overboard or not, I was like, you got to stay in your room, Mom. And that's where you got to stay until I figure this out. I don't know what I thought I'd figure out, but I needed to not come to grips because it was real, but I needed a moment to go, okay, this is really home. And we all know the end game of this is, if it doesn't go well, is lives lost. So my girlfriend Linda went immediately, and she's a nurse, and she got tested, and her access to being tested was much easier than mine, and she tested negative. And then I went through the pharmacy way. They do tests on CVS, et cetera, CVS pharmacy, et cetera. And now it's a 2 to 3 day wait, and you do it in a drive-through line, and that's a little strange. And you swab your nose and you do all that. And it takes some time. So we knew first that she was unaffected. She tested negative, and as a nurse, she even said what she hadn't said before. We need to stay apart. She hadn't said anything like that since this all started in March. So we need to not be around each other. We need to see if one of us has it or one doesn't. Well, now she's fine. Fine is a pretty loose term, but she tests negative. But we needed to wait to see what happened to me. I got a notification from CVS, popped up on my cell phone, and I was frightened. I was really frightened. What if it's me? What if I'm that guy? What if I'm that guy? And there's been a lot of people, men and women and children, that have been that guy. So immediately I took on those fears, just like, a lot of us do, and a little weakness set in, and I was worried. Well, that notification that came was just them offering me some coupons, because I'm a good shopper, to buy some all temperature or something, and maybe a little mascara that was on sale. There weren't calling to specifically or to seek Gene out and tell me that I had the worst case of COVID ever. Anyway, it did come right at the end of the third day. And I tested negative. Well, let me tell you that those 3 days, the time, there were a couple of days before then of just, Katie bar the door, because the disease could be there, were fraught with anticipation of the results, anticipation of, uh-oh, is my mom coughing? Uh-oh, is everybody okay? And it was, it was real. It was very real, and look how easily we can be emotional. We can think things out in the worst outcome and doing all that. And I'm telling you this story that I'm saying really affected me, and nobody was hurt. Nothing happened. So I want to make a point that I'm not trying to be flip about that, because I've seen and I've watched video, and I've not personally a dear friend, but know friends of friends and friends of family members that suffered terribly with this disease. So I'm going to set the table there for a pretty depressing world. And it doesn't need to be, even with that. All of you, I can only tell you the lesson that I got from this was be diligent, and know that it's out there, know that it's real, and it's very treatable, but it's out there. So none of us should be flip about this. This isn't, I won't be political. Let's just say it's real. So that sobered up my week a little bit. And it was interesting timing, because at the same time, I found a little joy in my life. So, you know what? I'm just going to show you. So I found this guy right here. And I found him. He's my first guest. And I don't know what Andy thinks. I'm thinking of calling him Boomer.
That's the cutest guy I've ever seen. And he even has the black eye on the one side. He's the RCA dog.
Well, his name's Boomer, Andy.
I said okay.
But well, at least it is when we're on the air.
Yeah.
But he's a rescue that touched my heart. He's just as cute as you know. And so I broke the rule. The rule is, don't work with kids and dogs. But yeah, this guy came and just brightened everybody's day up. And I brought him home during the COVID scare. And everybody's still bright. You saw him. He's what a breath of fresh air. And he's back to sleep right now. So he's doesn't really care what I'm doing. But anyway, there's ups and downs in life, and there's all of that. I guess what I really wanted to talk to you about today was um, doing something for somebody else. You want to make yourself feel better? You can always get a new pair of shoes, or I mean, if you're lucky, you can get that little dog I just showed you. But I mean, this is proven spiritually through mental health or anything else. If you can help somebody and sincerely help someone without looking for a thank you or without looking for credit, and you make a practice of that, you'll feel better. You don't even have to try. Just try it. You know, I've really tried to practice. You need to work at a good attitude. A good attitude doesn't just happen when you fall out of bed, unless you're maybe one of these people that's that lucky. You know, when I'm in the grocery store, wherever I am, and someone, you know, and I'm always whistling or humming a tune or doing whatever, and people will say, "My goodness, you're happy." Whether they're smiling at me or a little bothered by my upbeat mood, and a lot of times, and it's been quite a few years I've said that, I go, you know, it takes some work, you know. So having a good attitude is something you can actually work for. Changing your attitude is something you can work for. But I didn't do that before. I didn't wake up in the midst of my depression, my excess in drink, etc., and immediately think, is there something I could do for anyone other than myself? It was a self-centered, destructive, excessive life. And if anybody could tell you that, you know, that's what it is. It's a selfish life. So you kind of got to relearn how to live. And if you do something over and over and over again, it's just like they tell you. And a lot of things we're going to say here are just things that we've all been told since we were kids. If you do something for a certain amount of time, everybody has a certain days they put on this or how long it takes, but it can become a habit. So if you make a point every day to, at first, even if it's not comfortable, but think, you know, what about so-and-so and so-and-so? Well, you know, it became easier for me once I got my family back and you know, and there's people there to love, sure. But I wake up every morning and I really do think about other people. And sometimes, even in some ways, the career I chose is a little bit ego driven. I didn't do that before. So I taught myself how to do it, and boy, is it rewarding. You know, I take great joy in that. And one of the things I was taught about how, if you get the gift of survival, if you can come through depression, if you can come through being obesely overweight, if you can come through your opioid addiction, and as I said, just depression itself is debilitating. And if you can come through this, the folks out there to help you, whether it's your neighbor or some self-help line or whatever, a 12-step program, your family, you're indebted to them. At least for me, I can tell you, they changed my life. The people that I finally reached out to and said, I need help. I'm drowning. in everything I was drowning in everything we talked about. I was drowning in what what I couldn't change. I was drowning in that. You know, I was too busy. If you asked me about me or what I wanted to change, I would just tell you facts about how bad the world was and everybody else was and all that other jazz. Well, that's not quite how it works. There's people out there that will lift you up, and they do it, most of them, in unpaid positions. You know, when you leave a recovery place or a rehab or a sober living place, they tell you to continue and meet people that have those same addictions or same problems, and that working together will help lift you all up. So you practice that, and what you're told, no matter what the discipline is that what you need to do for this new lease on life, and what you can do, and what is your requirement for this newfound joy that was so buried that you just thought you'd never get off the couch again, is you need to share it with people. You need to pay them back. So really, when I get to talk to you guys, I get to pay you back. See, and I owe a really, really big debt to a lot of people, because they gave me back my life, and they gave me back my children, and they gave me back my mom. And let me meet a wonderful woman. And I didn't have that. I couldn't have done that by myself. And so part of this is, whatever you're going through, just remember, you got yourself there that way. So why are you the best person to get yourself out of it? You're the one that put yourself in this situation. Let's throw out all of the stereotypes. Number one, we're not old. The Light from Ruth Bader Ginsburg raged for 87 years. 87 years. And how many years at the end of her life did she spend battling her own terrible disease, and was still an amazing contributor to our society and our fiber as a nation. There's no time to quit. We know that we can live longer. We know we can live fulfilling lives into our 80s or 90s if we choose. And it used to be lights out at 60. Why did we all have that thing? Well, 60, yeah, you're going to be thinking about retiring, aren't you? You better be where you're going. Well, I got to tell you, I don't have a little cabin in the woods. I'd like one, with a little creek there, and on the porch there's a couple rockers, because at the moment I don't need that. The same guy that told you in his 20s, 30s, 40s, and then just admitted in his 50s he thought that 60 was over the hill, is now going, wow, I didn't know. And I almost threw that away. So don't throw it away. Don't throw it away. And if the time we spent together, and I will contact any of you that call this wonderful network that Andy's put together. And Boomer Bloomer is information for life. It's information to help you know that you're not alone. It's information to know that your problems aren't solely your own. We're all in this together, and we're so similar. We really are. Our insecurities, our fears, heck, and so you do things that elicit change in yourself, so that's what I do here. And what I do here, this is our third time out, and a little bit at a time, we'll keep getting to know each other. My passion is that this is, I have a friend that told me, every day's like Christmas, Gene. And when you can lose the chains that held you back so long that you were just rolling around that toilet bowl thinking, what could I possibly have to offer? Or this is so bad, how could I turn it around? Well, I'm here to tell you, you can't. And it's real. So please embrace change. Embrace that you're viable. Embrace there's people that need you. Embrace that you can make a difference on the smallest of levels, and that the difference you make to somebody else will pay you multiple fold, 12-fold more than the effort you put out just to help anybody. So that's my message for today. And it's heartfelt. We touch on a lot of things, but the most important thing is to be inspired. I don't care what you're inspired by, gosh, go shoot your best golf game. Go do this, do whatever. When you're out there, show somebody else how to golf. Show me how to golf, because I'm god awful with that. And I'm going to probably wait till I'm a little older. But as I said, it's a glorious life. And I would love to be a part of helping you see that and embracing it and running with it. So I think that Andy might need to take a break and do some business, but we do that. We'll come back and talk to you guys, or maybe get some questions from you, and just know that I got a little serious there, or we did have a dog, but it's that important to me. So I hope to be with you every week, and we can keep talking. Thanks.
Gene will be right back right after this, and just want to remind you that you're watching Boomer TV and Gene Comes Clean, My Excess with Gene Pietragallo. Also, just want to remind you to take part in this amazing community at Bloomerboomercom. You can register on the website, and you'll be part. And there's more to it, and you'll have fun. Let's get back now to Gene.
Oh, Andy, I'm having a little hair problem.
That's okay. That's okay. We all have to go through that.
Yeah, it's tough. But
well, Gene, please. This is this is a couple of questions that came in, and I know we're a little tight on time today, but let me try to get one here. This one is from Bart. And he is 62 now, and he was heavily into all kinds of drugs as early as the 7th grade. He says he doesn't talk about it much to anyone anymore. And then he says he's a real anti-drug person who speaks out about that a lot. But he's wondering if he should be more out front about his early drug use, but people might be shocked to learn.
I mean, nowadays, Bart, first of all, thanks for your question. And, nowadays, what does shock people? It's kind of hard to be shocked. But you're not going to shock anybody if you tell the truth. And I think that if you tell the truth, it'll help you be freed up from something that you obviously still think about. And it'll free that for you. And once again, it gets back to what we talked about. It'll probably help somebody else. And so in helping somebody else, maybe some of those demons that are still swimming around in there will find their way out.
We can get in one more. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. Okay. Andy, you kidding?
Then
I just have to walk Boomer. I got to walk Boomer.
Yeah, check on Boomer there.
Boomer, he's yeah.
Now with the pandemic, Liz says she's drinking more because she has nothing to do, and it's so hard to go out anymore, I guess, in public, she says. And so she has no idea, but she knows that drinking too much isn't the answer.
Well, let's get this one thing clear, okay? Drinking is legal. And we're being honest with each other. In my particular case, that was my kryptonite. But drinking's legal, and there are many people that enjoy drinking, don't drink to excess, don't do all that. But kind of one of the telltale sign is, if you're drinking alone and you're up in your consumption, well, drinking alone is that sign. It's what makes us isolate. And what is alcohol really? It's a depressant. So get out of the house, call somebody, talk about it. It's a social habit. It shouldn't be, as some of us do, make it a solitary habit. That's unhealthy.
Like I say, we are a little late here, but wanted to. Do you want to talk about next week at all?
Sure, Andy. I know that I didn't really get too far with today. With today's schedule, but it's just going on, continuing with what we're doing, and maybe to talk about some specific things, and maybe a couple of specific things that I could talk to our viewers about, and maybe get their feedback of how they can elicit change in their lives.
Good. And by the way, I think we used some kind of reverse psychology when we came up with Bloomer so we could make it complicated and people would have to say it over and over again.
I practiced it before, but Bloomer Boomer. Bloomer Boomer.
Yeah.
Boomers. Blooming. We're flowering.
It's good. Yeah. Hey, Gene, thanks again. It was great and always good to see you and hear from you.
All right, I gotta go take the dog back, but hopefully it worked.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Thanks again.
All right,
Have a
Andy.
good week. Bye-bye.
I'll talk to you soon.
All
Bye-bye.
right. Well, again, thank you. Thanks to and that's Gene Pietragallo. I will also remind you to join us at Bloomerboomer.com and be part of this amazing community of folks over 55.